John Bastwick was an English Puritan physician and controversial writer. He was born at Writtle, Essex. He entered Emmanuel College, Cambridge, on 19 May 1614, but remained there only a very short time, and left the university without a degree. He travelled and served for a time as a soldier, probably in the Dutch army. He then studied medicine abroad, and took the degree of MD at Padua. Back in England in 1623, he settled at Colchester, where he practiced as a physician. He was a Latin stylist, and began a career as controversial with Latin works. In 1634 he published in the Netherlands 2 anti-Catholic Latin treatises, Elenchus Religionis Papistici, an answer to a Catholic called Richard Short, and Flagellum Pontiferis, an argument in favour of Presbyterianism. The latter came under the notice of William Laud. He had Bastwick brought before the Court of High Commission, where he was convicted of a scandalous libel, was condemned to pay a fine of £1,000 and costs, and was imprisoned in the Gatehouse prison until he should recant. In 1636 Bastwick published Pi Rho Alpha Chi Epsilon Iota Sigma Tau Nu Epsilon Pi Iota Sigma Kappa Omicron Pi Omega News Sive Apologeticus ad Praecios Anglicanos, written in the Gatehouse against the High Commission Court. In 1637 he produced in English the 4 parts of his Litany of Dr. John Bastwick, in which bishops were denounced as the enemies of God and the tail of the beast. For this publication he was summoned before the Star Chamber. The request for a work in English came from the publisher John Wharton. The litany was printed by a Dutch press for John Lilburn, who had been brought to the Gatehouse in 1636 by the clothier Thomas Hewson and minister Edmund Rosier. Lilburn was just finishing an apprenticeship with Hewson, and smuggled the text abroad, but was betrayed by his assistant in importing the litany, John Chillibone, who worked for Wharton. At the time Bastwick was comfortable enough in prison, living with his wife and family and complaining that he ate roast meat only once a week. Similar proceedings were taken against William Prynne for his Histriomastics, and Henry Burton for seditious sermons. Bastwick's voluminous defense, which was also published, aggravated his case. He was found guilty, and along with the other sentenced to lose his ears in the pillory, to pay a fine of £5,000, and to be imprisoned for life. Bastwick was afterwards moved to Star Castle, Isles of Scilly, for there in November 1640 he was released by order of the Long Parliament, and in December entered London in triumph. Reparation to the amount of the fines imposed was ordered to be made to him. In 1642, as the First English Civil War broke out, Bastwick was a captain of the Leicester-trained bands, and on the 22nd of July he was taken prisoner by the Royalists at Leicester and sent prisoner to York. Soon at liberty again, he published in 1643 a declaration demonstrating that all malignants, whether they be prelates and amp.C, are enemies to God and the Church. The parliamentary success in the war brought by 1645 a new relationship and being between the Presbyterians and other Protestant groups, classified as independents, such as the emerging Quakers and Congregationalists. Bastwick with Prynne was a hardliner on the Presbyterian side. Burton wanted a less harsh approach, and by then Lilburn was a very popular independent beginning to found the Levies. Bastwick with Colonel Edward King arranged for Lilburn to be arrested on the 19th of July 1645 for words he had said against the Speaker of the House of Commons. He was in custody until October. In 1648 Bastwick published 2 bitter tracts against the independents, and in defense of himself against Lilburn. Bastwick died in 1654. Richard Smith, in his obituary, gives the 6th of October 1654 as the date of his burial.